Welcome to the 100 Authors in 100 Days conversation, where we explore writers, entrepreneurs, luminaries, all making a positive impact in the world. This is a place where we get to hear the story behind the story. And I am your host, Adriana, and today the guest and writer is Maria Ortiz, and I'm excited to get to introduce her to you because she's also part of the Latinas 100 project, and she's co-authoring the book that's being published in December. So welcome, Maria. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, muchas gracias.
So
Encantada de estar contigo.
Likewise. Listen, so I had the opportunity to go over your essay that's going to be included in the Latinas 100 book for December. I love it. I love what you have to share. And I agree with you. As I was reading it, there's like a lot of details that impacted me. So, but before I do that, share with the audience a little bit about, what you do and what you're up to these days.
Okay. So I am an author. My first book that got published is I Love Men. It's also available in Spanish. The title is Me Encantan los Hombres. And then I did the English version, I Love Men. It's the same cover as you can see. The Spanish version is a little smaller because we changed it when we did the edit. So it's a little bit smaller. It also has like 28 or 30 less pages because I added when I did the English version. So the best books are not only written, but they are rewritten. I'm also already thinking to change the concept already and the cover, because the publisher is telling me it's not selling, which I don't know if it's true, but for anyone that wants to write a book, I want to tell you that don't get discouraged, even if, whoever who is helping you is telling you it's not good or it's not being received already. What happens with books sometimes is that people is not ready for them, or they're not ready to get a concept in the way we express it. So what I want to tell you about the book, if you buy it, you're going to think it's too sweet to be true. So the reason why I did it that way is kind of when you polish a diamond, at the end it's only what shines out of the situation, how it started. The diamond was dirty, so my life with men started with my dad dying at 2 years old. So when we get left behind, my grandpa became my dad, and he was not a good dad. He was a drinker. He will go after us. I was always afraid that he will sexually abuse us. He will molest my mom. Not only he did that, but also the brothers of my dad did that. So, and then I became dating, and there was this crazy guy that wanted to kidnap me. Then I get married. Then, my marriage life wasn't all butterflies and roses, because he was a cheater. And he was selfish, and we wanted different things in life, and our way of managing money and living life was different. How it happens with a lot of us. Then I get divorced, then I get pregnant from a guy who doesn't care about my baby, and he leaves us too. And then it's these things that we hold within us that it's hard to forgive, when you live through all these situations. So when I started doing the self-work to just feel better about how I felt when I got divorced, I was 29 years old. And I will look at myself in the mirror, and I saw an old person. I even started getting gray hair. I felt like I was going crazy. I wanted to suicide. At one point, I considered that. So I was in the kitchen, and I held a knife, and I said, well, how long will it take me, to cut my veins and die? And so when I got divorced, my older son was between 7 and 8 years old. And he was the only person that lived with me at the time. So I thought, how long will it take me to bleed out and die? What if I don't die? And then I thought how scary it will be for my son to find me that way at his age. Wow. So I realized that I was depressed. I went to the doctor. He gave me pills for depression, but they were not enough. I was drugged, and I couldn't sleep well. I was just worried. I felt that by losing him, he was the only man I could possibly love. I didn't see myself loving another man. And so I realized that my baggage with men was heavy because it came from the fact that my dad died when I was 2. So when we lose my dad, our family structure changed, where it was okay. It was some type of abundance. We had horses. He had a truck. So he dies, and then we had to sell the horses. They sell the truck. My mom has to work now. Now my family is not a family like the typical family in Mexico that comes from the dad who goes to United States and brings money. So by us not being able to do that, we go into a poor life and struggle, everything. I remember we had a lot of cactus plants, nopales, and we used to sell those. My mom had hens. We used to sell the eggs and just to get a little bit of money. So people will come to our house.
Yeah.
But there was this one lady that she was even poorer than us. The husband was a drinker, and so her name was Elena. And so when Elena came to the house, my mom told us, whenever she comes and she asks you for cactus or eggs, I want you to give them to her because she doesn't have anything. So anytime Elena came to our house, we will give her whatever we had, if it was cactus, if it was eggs, if she wanted milk for her kids, if she wanted anything that we had, we will give it to her for free. My mom taught us that. My mom is a very generous woman, and I always trusted her wisdom, even though sometimes it will hurt to trust it, but I did.
I was reading that it was when your dad passed that it was 8 of you guys.
Yes.
Wow.
So 8 kids, if you can picture that. My mom was, I believe, 33 years old.
33?
If you can imagine 33 and having 8 kids. So she was married at 19. She gets pregnant, kind of right away. So my older brother was 11 years old, and my little sister was 6 months old. We are 6 women and 2 boys. So 6 girls, 2 boys, and I am number 7.
You're number 7.
I'm number 7, yeah. So
that's a good number. That's a great number. I love it.
I was 2 when he died. So sometimes when I talk to my family, I say, hey, number 7 right here.
So how are all your brothers and sisters? How did they cope with all of those changes?
Everyone did in a different way, Adriana. I think it's part of the inner work that you do. Like if I will talk like each of my sisters, right? So my older sister, Maria Luisa, will say, well, my dad was a good man, he really did work and care for his family. If I talk like Maria Teresa, she'll say, well, my dad was a loving individual, he was really good to my mom. If I talk like Margarita, she will say, well, my dad was a strong man, he took care for us, he cared for us so much. And he loved my mom so much that my mom doesn't have the right to be with anyone else. If I talk like Maria del Carmen, she will say, well, he was good, we always loved him. We had to keep a memory, and we need to do all these things to keep him alive, like the altar for Dia de Muertos. And then if I talk like Ana Maria, who is the baby, she will say, yeah, my dad is Ortiz, it's a strong family, and it's a shame that he died because we lost everything. Our life was so sad because he died. And if I talk like myself, I would say my dad was a beautiful soul that made a big mission by him dying, because when he died, he saved many lives. So what happened, the way he died is that he used to live in US, and he went to visit with one of his friends. They got a motorcycle that they brought with them. So my dad was riding on the back seat, and with his friend, they were riding around town. So my dad put his feet in the motor of the motorcycle, and it cut his ankle. So it got infected with tetanus. And back in the day, when he went to the hospital, they didn't know what that was. That was the first case in my town on the big hospital for tetanus. And so
this is in Mexico.
This is in Mexico, yeah. So this is Michoacan, Mexico. So I'm not sure that they had a vaccine or not for it. So when my mom went to visit, my dad had his neck already open, and they had like tubes inside to help him eat. So my mom, of course, is in pain because it's the love of her life. She has 8 kids with him. They are so young. I talked to a nurse at the hospital like 10 years ago, like the way she talked about my love, you can, I'm sorry, about my dad, you can feel love. Like I feel like she fell in love with my dad just by seeing him in there struggling. So she says, your dad was so handsome. He was so kind. We feel so bad because it was a lot of you guys as kids. She says when your dad died, the whole hospital made sure that anytime a new patient came, we were gonna have them vaccinated. So what happened was that when my mom went to visit my dad, they asked her, did he get vaccinated for tetanus? And my mom asked my dad, of course, did you get vaccinated? He said, yeah, they did some vaccines on me, but he didn't know what they injected on him. Of course, you can imagine someone in the hospital, they're not conscious. So my mom says, yeah, well, he says he's vaccinated. And so it turns out that he didn't get that vaccine. So due to that, he died so young, you know.
Oh
And
no.
so the hospital knows it's a lot of us, and we're all little kids, of course. And so my mom is devastated, of course, because of the loss. And my dad was known in town because he's the one that worked. He's the one that bought the house. He's the one that will provide for the family. My grandpa used to physically abuse his wife, and she died very young. So they didn't have a mom at a young age, and their life was difficult because he was a man who will be with women, you know, and spend his money. His dad was a rich man. He had a position in town
Oh,
in the government, and he left everyone something, you know, piece of land and money. But so the other brothers and sisters of my grandpa, they had like tortillerias, you know, they had businesses, they work in like the presidencia and stuff like that. But my grandpa didn't because he spent the money drinking and being with women. So the only thing he bought was, I guess, half of the house where we live. But and then he kept on drinking. So basically, my dad bought it. So our entire life we deal with the situation where the family will come and fight for the house. Like my dad's brothers and sisters will want to kick my mom out. So when my grandpa died, they it was even harder, you know. So anytime someone come and visit the house, it was always trying to see grandpa because he has something to give. He had you know, like land that was big. It was like, you know, big acres and few of them, you know, it wasn't just one. So he had property. And but I also went over for the house. So it was annoying just being at home because anyone that came tried to get something from grandpa. But anyone that came also tried to get something from us. So we are you know, my mom is just really pretty, she's very attractive. She's a
mm-hmm.
beautiful woman. And then it's 6 other women in there that are growing and getting boobs, you know, and getting
Yeah.
pretty. So it's like our cousins will come and visit and we will feel in danger. At least I felt in danger. I remember one time one of my cousins was bragging about he already touched one of us, you know. And this is
He
a
was bragging about it.
yeah, this is a cousin that is friends with my two sisters, you know, a little older than me, so Maria del Carmen and Margarita. And so they say, well, Panchito says he already touched one of you. And my mom is so mad. And she says, who was it? And she said, they see you. And I was probably like 11 years old or 12, around that. And I said, no, it's not me. I would have not allowed it. I would have told you. And then she asked Maria del Carmen, is it you? And she said, no, mom, but you can tell, and maybe her, you know. And then my mom asked Margarita, is it you? And she said, no, mom, it's not me. So my mom was so mad. I remember that time she went into the kitchen and she starts grabbing plates and just throw them to the wall. You know, they're getting broken. And so another time, it was where my sister Margarita told my mom, you know, my grandpa keeps touching my butt. So when my dad, my grandpa was sitting in the kitchen, it was like a small little door where he will sit his chair. There was chairs, of course, in there. So there was a chair close to the door where he will always sit, you know, just to get a chance of any one of us will pass because there was a small space. He will either try to touch any part of our body or, you know, just pull us by the hand. So it was always very scary. And
Oh
so
no.
my sister Margarita tells my mom, you know what, Papa Ramon touched my butt, and I'm afraid, you know, to feed him because he's always trying to touch me. So that day, I remember my mom was mad again. She starts throwing plates. And she says, well, what we're gonna do now is we're not gonna feed him. So she decided that we're not gonna feed Grandpa, and he depends on us, to eat. So every night we will have to bring milk and a piece of bread for him. But his room was dark, so when you come in, it's like this wood door, and you have to turn on the light. And his bed is like on the wall, like in front of you. But you have to come in and turn the light first. So he was on his bed, laying down all the time. But of course, you're super afraid because you're a little girl trying to feed Grandpa, who is like a wolf, like you're gonna be afraid, like he's gonna just pull you. So
That's
most
terrible.
of the time, I will ask my little sister Anna, come with me, please go with me. Let's go feed Papa Ramon. And then sometimes she'll say yes, but sometimes she'll say no. So the process to feed Grandpa is that you have to go and tell him, here, Grandpa, here's your milk and bread. And he'll say, well, how do I know you're not trying to poison me? Or, so you had to drink the milk, you had to drink a sip of the milk first and take a bite of his bread and then leave it, and then he will eat it. So we had to do that every time. No, I want you to try it first. I want you to try it. So we already know that. So, and then you're leaving, like there was a chair where you like put in the plate with the bread and the milk, and you're leaving that in there. But you're afraid he's gonna pull you. He's gonna pull you in the bed, and you're not gonna, you're not gonna survive it.
That's
So
terrible.
Grandpa didn't shower often. Grandpa showered once a week, and he will go to a pond, like a little lake, where it's like thermal water. So Puro Andiro is the name of my city, and the Nahuatl name is place of hot water. So it's like thermal waters. So we had another place where it's like a sanctuary, where there is like water with azufre, and people will come to heal. So where he went, it was called La Zanja. So La Zanja was like clear water, where it was like a little pool, but it was natural, where he will get in and shower. So he will shower once a week. And just smelling the way he smelled, I started hating old people because he was old and he smelled dirty. So all this inability of mine to be close to old people was causing me problems as I age. So I had to work on the issue because I will not date older guys. So, well, also because when I got divorced, young guys will be after me. And I thought they were crazy. And then I started to like them because they're easygoing. But if someone that was like 10 years older than me tried to invite me anywhere, I wouldn't accept it because he was too old for me. So it was this inability of me of dealing with old people. And when I joined it and say, I saw that there is a lot of older people in there. And then so by the time I got there, I had already processed that my memories of my grandpa are not going to affect my life. So then it was easy for me to talk to them because back in the day, even smelling someone old would be disgusting for me.
Oh no.
I couldn't deal with it, and so it's just those situations in life where you carry it with you.
Yeah.
So what I want to tell people, if you buy my book, understand that's what I came from.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got your book and I read it, and it was all really positive.
Yes.
I would have never known, like, that you
Very
had all of this, trauma. So when did you start healing all of that trauma? Like, what was that journey like when you started healing?
It happened when I got divorced at 29 because so by me being divorced, I got all this time in my hands. It wasn't taking care of my husband. It wasn't cleaning the house as much. It wasn't cooking for a long time. It wasn't babysitting my son when he went to classes. So, and then also the days where he had him, which was like 2 days and a half a week, I will have all the free time and I didn't know what to do with it because I didn't have any friends. My whole life surrounded his. So whenever we went to do any activities, it was his family, his friends, his choices. I wanted to make him happy. So if he asked me to choose a restaurant, I say, we'll do whatever you want. Do you want music in the car? What do you want? I don't know. Whatever you like is good, So I started losing myself by wanting to make him happy, wanting to give him what he didn't have when he was a little boy. It's like this burden of not having what I had. I feel like I needed to compensate him. But by me doing that, I was given my choices. I was given. So I lost myself in the process because I was giving too much. And a lot of times we do that, we give too much. And
Yeah,
so when
that
you
happens.
do the work of loving yourself and understand who you are, and that there is a bigger purpose besides getting married and have a kid, which is what a culture,
Yeah.
taught me.
That's like
That
our
that's
culture tells us. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
the
that
culture
there is
tells us,
more
that that's like the end all. Like once you get married, once you have kids, and it's not true. I mean, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble out there who hasn't been married yet, but it's all a big lie.
yeah.
Just, because really, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with getting married, buying the house, going to college, or it's this. And that was one of the reasons why I loved your book. When I read it, I was like, I wonder what the book is about, because it says I love men, and in Spanish, like, it sounds different, but
Yeah.
it's really about you healing your relationship with men overall, and healing this, almost like this trauma from, your grandfather and all the other, the cousins and stuff that were doing what, their awfulness at home. In So the book, it's almost like it was one of those steps, it was one of those writing goals that you had to heal that. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then when I was reading through your essay, there was so much. There was 3 or 4 major points. One was, that even as a child, you always had this desire to teach. Okay, and then 2 was, you share about always having to hunt for the next paycheck, and then 3 is following your calling, which is writing and speaking. And I've heard you speak in public, so I know you're very good and very, I know that you've put in the work, because of, the stuff, that the words that come out of your mouth, and the stories that you share. So I know that it hasn't been easy, because also by reading this, when you came to the United States, you didn't know English. You had to start like from zero,
Yeah.
right? So that's, I know, very difficult, and English is not an easy language to learn. And then your fourth topic in the essay is about your spiritual awakening. And I just want to go into that a little bit, because I think that now that you've shared like all of the trauma and the hardships and everything that you've gone through, that at the end of the day, it's almost like you came full circle, right? And in the last page of your essay, you say, I'm just going to read a little bit, so the audience can hear. You say, the need for learning and not having much extra money um, to spare brought me to YouTube's free content, where I started listening to powerful speakers like Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Les Brown, Esther Hicks, Carol, Tony Robbins, Dolores Cannon, which I love, Maya Angelou, Oprah Winfrey, Lisa Nichols, Anita Morjani. I love Anita Morjani, and I really got stuck in Anita Morjani because I just read all her stuff last year when I was in New Mexico. I actually went to see Greg Braden, and she happened to be one of the speakers as well. So of course I bought her book and I read her stuff. And Anita Morjani she just opened a completely different level for me in my spiritual path. And you mentioned her here.
Yeah.
So when we had conversations, I realized that it's because you also follow Anita Morjani, that we both of us have a lot of connecting dots, because we understand, her experience and what she experienced. So for those of you who don't know who Anita Morjani is, highly recommended. She wrote a book called Dying to Be Me, about her near-death experience. And then you go on to say, so you joined, Toastmasters, NSA, National Speakers Association, and then you met all these incredible speakers. In here in town, we have a lot of celebrities, right? So like Darren Lacroix, Ed Tate, Judy Moreo, Patricia Fripp, Michael Hodge, I think, Michael, and then Michael Brown, and ... and so on, right? So it's interesting because you come from such a hardcore, in such a interesting background, and then so you've been able to really build your community and build your speaking career here in Las Vegas. And I always see your content online, so you're always in the mixers with a lot of the speakers in town, which is great. And then you say the constant search for learning how to better share a message motivated me to read titles. And what I learned was, and I love that you put this in the essay, because that's what we want to share with the younger generation is, what did you learn in life and what do you want to leave behind? Because really, if you die tomorrow,
Yeah.
what do you want people to know, right? So this is what you have to say. You say, we all have something to say. We're all good human beings that occasionally get lost. We're all connected. We never die. Our unique way of sharing our message can be the easiest to understand to someone else. As much as we like to judge, we cannot change it. The good and the bad is all part of us, as well as our need to improve it. Our soul keeps incarnating new bodies. Learn to love and approve of yourself. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. So that's the main goal of this Latinas 100 project, is to be able to have a young person read the story and say, oh, this is what Maria learned. This is what she went through. This is what she learned. And this is what can help me as a young person, or me as a reader, not either make the same mistakes or understand, feel more compassion for another human being. And I think the key here is also understanding that everybody has different ways to getting to places, right?
Yeah.
Like I have my way from getting from point A to point B, and you had your way of getting from Mexico to the United States, and then now you're speaking. And another thing that I found awesome about your book is that you have your book in Walmart, in palibrio.com, Barnes and Nobles, and on Amazon. So not only are you a published author already, but you've been able to also secure all these other marketing channels, which a lot of times just to get in Walmart is like very difficult, just to sell any product in Walmart, right? So I congratulate you for that. I congratulate you for finishing the essay and in sharing your story. We're going to be back and forth on, the final details of it, but I'm really looking forward to having this be part of the book. And really, really, I want to thank you because you helped me see this world. I was really fortunate where within my family, there was not a lot of, there wasn't anybody who, like uncles or cousins or whatever, that tried to touch us or anything like that. And what I think about now is like they could have, because we all lived in like this really cramped house, but that never happened. And the fact that these 8 children were held hostage by this grandfather who was unfortunately, doing things he wasn't supposed to do, that's really hardcore stuff,
Yeah.
So I congratulate you for getting out of that and then healing it and then writing a book about it. And then now here you are making a difference, sharing your story because it's important, and making the world a better place. So for our viewers, is there any last words that you want to share with them about your essay, about the project, or anything else that you want to leave?
Well, I want to share so my interview that I had with you. Stay with me. What you taught me is that if you have an idea, do it now, do it now, do it now. If you have an idea, it comes from God. So I recently had an idea to do a fun challenge, and I started to already invite people. And so if you have an idea, act on it. Don't think it's crazy, just act on it and see what comes from it. Because when you start getting involved with other people, don't try to do anything by yourself. Of course, you can start doing anything, but if you can reach out to anybody that can possibly help you in any manner, and it could be calling your boyfriend, calling your friend, talking to your little boy, talking to your little girl, to your daughter, someone, the age doesn't matter how old they are, but talk to someone and explain what you're trying to do and see what they say. Because even in talking with little ones, little kids, boys or girls, they have a wisdom that sometimes we're unable to tap at that specific second. So if they have something to say, just, ask them. You wanna come, Alex? Come on, come on, hurry.
I
This
love
is
it.
my son, Alex. He's 9 years
Hi,
old.
Alex. Nice
So
to meet
he's
you.
someone who I sometimes talk about what I'm planning to do, and you'll be amazed just to see what they have to say. You know, and I'm not trying to say don't trust in what you're feeling or what your plan is, but if you talk to someone, it'll just give you more ideas on how to develop it and act on
Yeah, I love it. It's so true. It's just conversations make the world go round. I believe
it.
it.
Yes,
So thank you so much, Maria, for sharing. I look forward to having you be part of the project. I'm so happy that you decided to join us, and I look forward to the book launch in December and then having you share more stories. So everybody who's watching, tune in, check out her book on Amazon and all the other avenues that I shared. In the link below, I'm going to have all of the information for her and how you can get a hold of her, and that's her awesome book there in Spanish and English. And oh, I was going to ask, are you going to do your essay in Spanish as well?
of course. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'll wait for that. I'll wait for that one. And thank you so much, Maria. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully, right? When we can all get together
Yes.
after this pandemic.
I want to invite you to the fan challenge.
Yes, I'll check it out. Thank you so much, Maria.
You're welcome.